My name is Luca. I'm a fourth-year PhD candidate working in the Sageman Lab Group. My research broadly evaluates the relationship between changes at sea level and marine chemistry, with a specific look at sulfur. All right, so really quickly, let's look at sulfur system comparing open and closed systems. So the sulfur isotopic record is thought to be driven primarily by sulfate reduction by microbes. So during this process, which is an ancient anaerobic metabolism, sulfate reducers will actually pull sulfate from their local environment in order to drive their metabolism as the terminal electron acceptor. During this process, a large degree of fractionation can take place, up to 70 per mil in ideal settings in an open system when they are in direct contact with the marine reservoir, which is effectively a sulfate buffet. Now, in a closed system, this is very different. As depicted here in this figure by Fike et al. 2015, if they are in a restricted basin or in sediment pore spaces in which they are no longer in direct connection to the water column, we see a Rayleigh type distillation effect, whereby the isotopically light sulfate gets consumed and the reservoir evolves to heavier and heavier isotopic sulfur. This is reflected in heavier and heavier sulfides produced as a byproduct of this process. So I've been looking since I got here at this relationship in the Cretaceous, but this summer we've recently started looking in the Holocene at the Loch Dart. This is a Scottish lake in the northwest of Scotland. It is an isolation basin, which is to say that throughout its history, it has been intermittently connected and isolated from the ocean. This is due to changes in relative sea level. Now, with radiocarbon dating at Loch Dart, this presents geoscientists with an ability to kind of pull apart the competing effects of UC, relative sea level change, and isostatic rebound as the surface kind of actually rises as deglaciation takes place and the weight of those glaciers disappear. Oh, skip this. Yeah, gotcha. Okay, so here's a record from Hamilton et al. 2015, which they looked at a core from Loch Dart, and they used diatom assemblage change, palynology, the appearance of shell beds, and rootlets to kind of come up with a reconstruction of the paleo environment, from marine to freshwater to marine to the current intertidal, over about the last 18,000 years, so since the last glacial maximum. All right, they wanted to send, so our colleagues at the University of Durham who sent us these sediments are looking at the possibility of using osmium as a tracer for changes in relative sea level. They also wanted to look at an array of other geochemical proxies, which Masterson and myself have been working on over the last few months. And again, here is the published reconstruction, marine, freshwater, marine, brackish intertidal. I've got the changes highlighted in blue and green, and we see remarkable consistency with these geochemical excursions, ending up with how they've established changes in the paleo environment. With a special consideration looking at this Delta 34S record, which really comes directly in line with what I mentioned in the beginning, where this closed system, as we come into freshwater, no longer in contact with the marine realm, is resulting in much heavier Delta 34S values. All right, so this is kind of the same paradigm as what I've been looking at in the Cretaceous. This is another Delta 34S record in which we see in this near paleoshore site, Delta 34S is much heavier during the regressions when the shoreline is very close, sedimentation rates are high, and we're in a closed system. Delta 34S then drops during the transgressions as sedimentation rate decreases because the shoreline has backstepped. I think this is a super cool connection from the Cretaceous to the Holocene. We're all seeing the same thing. And because it's all influenced by the orbital mechanics and Milankovitch cycles, I think it's romantic as a geoscientist to see a connection from the largest possible scale, one of the largest possible scales of the celestial mechanics of the system down to the waste product of microbes on the seafloor.